to Applicata Biblia. My name is Mark, and again, thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to be speaking very briefly about a study help. Now, this is kind of just some tips that I give for study and or for teaching as well. And one of those things that are they are extremely boring, okay, but they are also very helpful, and that is maps. I used to think that it was kind of geeky to use maps, that my teachers that would use maps, it was always kind of geeky because I'm looking at something and I have no idea where this place is, right? That used to be my thought. I used to think, well, I don't even know where is this, I'm not a geography guy. But because that teacher did those things, and I'm talking about, I knew where the Middle East is and that sort of thing. But then, we start talking about ancient cities and all that, and it's like, okay, am I going to remember all this? Probably not. But that's not the point. The reason why you use a map is because maps are like, it's secular evidence, first and foremost. And you'll say, I just used one on Sunday. And I used it to basically show where the apostles were teaching and preaching. And, we talked about Caesarea, we talked about Joppa, we talked about Damascus, and it helps to bring the student into the story. And if when you do that, like say you are trying to give scale to what's going on, it really helps to compare it to somewhere where you are teaching from. Like I'm teaching somewhere in San Diego, and I'll say something like, well, here's Jerusalem, and here's Samaria. It would be like going from downtown San Diego to Encinitas, okay? Now, not everybody will know what that means, but the people in the audience, right where I am, and you can do that anywhere. If you go to another city, just check out how far away those things are, and you'll say something like that. And you'll say, well, and of course, it only takes 20 minutes to drive there on a decent day, but, to walk there, it might have taken, half a day or a full day, because you have to pack your animals and you have to pack provisions, and so that is what helps the story unfold. That it really, really helps. It helps when you're teaching about just about anything. I remember using maps when we were talking about Elijah. Now Elijah, he goes up near Tyre. He goes to these different places, and when you're reading it, he's covering this territory fairly quickly. He's walking like 60 miles, and it's important that the disciple, the student, whoever is getting the study, gets into it. Now, even if you're not going to teach it, if you're just going to look at it, think about those things. These are real people we're talking about. These aren't fictional characters. This is real life happening in the world that God is directing along here. And so that's my advice, is to look at your maps. Look at them and see what it means. The next time you study the Exodus and then the conquering of the land, look at where all of the tribes are. Look at where it is, because it all fits in to what happens, right? The fact that Judah ends up pretty much alone. They had Dan, or was it Dan? No, it wasn't Dan. Oh, who was it? Was it Dan? Benjamin. I'm sorry. They had Benjamin as well. Now, originally, it didn't look like they were going to get Benjamin, but they did. And well, how does that make sense? Well, for one thing, Benjamin is right next to Judah. So, in the geographical way, it makes sense. But there were other things in there as well, including, Saul and all of that. So it's really important to be able to look at the lay of the land and understand how things unfold. When you start getting into the kings and the battles and Jesus going to Megiddo or talking about Megiddo, where's Megiddo? Well, where's that? Well, there's the valley. Where's Jezreel? Where's all these different places? And there are these places that God names very early on, and they become holy places, and Israel keeps them as holy places, and they have significance throughout all of the scriptures. So it's important to use maps. If you're not teaching, for your own study anyway, just to get the lay of the land. Thank you so much for stopping by. I want to encourage you to continue studying. If you're not a Christian, think about it. If you are studying scriptures and you're not a Christian, you're studying because you're being called. It's not because anything other than that. You may have heard the word somewhere, and that's God calling you to be his child. Think about that. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one.